Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best Asus laptops. Asus ExpertBook B9. Asus isn't exactly best known for its business laptops, but that's not to say they don't have merit. The ExpertBook B9 is a great lightweight laptop for business users, including a Windows 10 Pro license and a more professional-looking design. In terms of performance, the ExpertBook B9 is just like any other Ultrabook. You can get it with up to an Intel Core i7-1185G7 processor with vPro, meaning it has some extra security features for businesses. This model has 4 cores, 8 threads, and it can boost up to 4.8 GHz, plus it has Iris-Say graphics. Aside from the processor, you can get the ExpertBook B9 with up to 32 GB of RAM and a 2 TB SSD, which is more than most business Ultrabooks tend to give you. The display on the ExpertBook B9 is fairly standard, but that's what you'd probably expect from a business laptop. It's a 14-inch panel with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it comes in full HD resolution. The brightness is 400 nits and it covers 100% of sRGB, so it should look good enough to work on, even when you're outdoors. ROG Strix Scar 15. For the all-out gamers, the Asus ROG Strix Scar 15 is as beastly of a laptop as you can probably guess based on its name. It's powerful and it's unapologetically gamer-focused, right down to its design. First off, the ROG Strix Scar 15 comes with up to an AMD Ryzen 9 5900HX processor, packing 8 cores, 16 threads, and boost speeds up to 4.6 GHz. That's a 45W processor, and one of the most powerful ones at that. You can pair that with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 with 16 GB of memory and 130W of power, making for an extremely powerful laptop that can handle any modern game without breaking a sweat. Additionally, you can get up to 32 GB of RAM and a 1 TB SSD for storage. The Strix Scar 15 comes with a 15.6-inch display in the typical 16:9 aspect ratio, and it gives you 2 options to choose from. You can get a full HD display with a 300Hz refresh rate if you need the absolute fastest response times, or you can go with a Quad HD panel with a 165Hz refresh rate if you favor a sharper picture. It's up to your preference, though I'd personally prefer the latter option. Asus ZenBook 13 OLED. What if you're not into gaming at all and you just want a high-quality, sleek Ultrabook? The answer to that is the Asus ZenBook 13 OLED, which is thin, light, and powerful enough to get through your workday just fine. Performance-wise, the ZenBook 13 OLED is very much a standard Ultrabook. It comes with Intel's 11th generation core processors up to a Core i7-1165G7, which is a quad-core, 8-thread CPU that can boost up to 4.7 GHz. It also has Intel Iris-Say graphics, so it can handle some light GPU workloads. Additionally, you get up to 16 GB of RAM and 1 TB of SSD storage depending on the configuration you get. That's a very good setup for an Ultrabook. The highlight of the ZenBook 13 OLED is its display, particularly because it's one of the rare laptops with OLED displays that aren't insanely expensive. This is a 13.3-inch panel with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it comes in full HD resolution. That's still fairly sharp for a display of this size, plus it covers 100% of DCI-P3, it's validated by Pantone, it has a Display HDR True Black 500 certification. This is a fantastic screen, and it's almost surprising to see it in a relatively affordable laptop like this. Asus ROG Zephyrus G14. If you want a bit more graphics power and one of the most unique laptops out there, the ROG Zephyrus G14 is another fantastic option. It's not quite as portable, but that's to be expected considering it has higher-end specs. Those specs include similar 35W AMD Ryzen processors, this time up to a Ryzen 9 5900HS with 8 cores, 16 threads, and boost speeds up to 4.6 GHz. That's slightly slower than the ROG Flow X13's top-tier configuration, but that's not the case with the GPU. The Zephyrus G14 comes with up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 with 6GB of memory and up to 80 W of power, which is a very significant step up from the RTX 3050 Ti. Aside from that, the laptop comes with up to 32GB of RAM and a 1TB SSD for storage. This is a better machine for gaming, though that does come at the cost of some portability. The display on the Zephyrus G14 is a 14-inch panel with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it comes in a couple of versions depending on your model. Some models include a full HD display with a 144Hz refresh rate, while others come with a Quad HD panel at 120Hz. Both options are good, but naturally we'd say the Quad HD panel is better, especially when the refresh rate is almost the same. Asus ROG Flow X13. I may have the slightest bit of bias here, but having bought and currently using the Asus ROG Flow X13, I frankly couldn't imagine buying any other laptop on this list for myself. The ROG Flow X13 is a phenomenal mix of powerful enough specs for occasional gaming, a lightweight build, and a versatile convertible design, pretty much everything I could want. For performance, the Asus ROG Flow X13 comes with AMD's latest Ryzen processors up to a Ryzen 9 5980HS, an 8-core, 16-thread processor with boost speeds up to 4.8 GHz. This is a 35W processor and one of the most powerful ones at that. That's backed up by up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 Ti graphics card with 4GB of RAM and up to 40 W of power, giving you entry-level ray tracing capabilities and solid performance to run just about any modern game. Beyond that, it can come with up to 32GB of RAM and a 1TB SSD. If you want top-of-the-line gaming performance, you can add the ROG XG Mobile, an external GPU enclosure with a GeForce RTX 3080 inside, plus a few extra ports for your laptop.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.